UFC Fight Island 5 is going down this Saturday night in Yas Island, Abu Dhabi. Fight Island, because we got a Bantamweight Showdown in the main event between Marlon Moraes and Corey Sandhagen. It's going to be one hell of a matchup. I'm Daniel Levy from linemovement.com, and let's take a close look at this Bantamweight Showdown. Now, in the main event in the bantamweight division between Magic Marlon Moraes and Corey the Sandman Sandhagen, there's a lot of different angles to unpack with this fight. Obviously, just the fact that you got two top 5 guys in the main event right away, there's going to be title implications. I know Aljamain Sterling is waiting in the wings, and also, TJ Dillashaw is coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him a title shot, but one can make the argument that if Marlon Moraes wins this fight, he does have a first-round knockout win over Aljamain Sterling. I would not be surprised to see him jump to the front of the line. But if Corey Sandhagen wins this fight, then I wouldn't be surprised if they go ahead and give the title shot to Aljamain Sterling. But as far as this stylistic matchup is concerned, I think the big talking points are the volume of Corey Sandhagen versus the power of Marlon Moraes. Or if you want to take it a step further, maybe the pace of Corey Sandhagen versus the early bursts of Marlon Moraes. So definitely a lot to ponder in this matchup. So obviously everybody knows that Corey Sandhagen is the taller man here. He's got the reach advantage in the spot, and statistically speaking, the numbers actually favor him in terms of volume and output. He nearly doubles what Marlon Moraes throws. That being said, what Marlon Moraes throws is serious in terms of the heat, the power, the velocity, and he's known when he head kicks someone, not only are they not getting back up, but it's going to take a while for them to wake up, and it's just a credit to the kind of power this guy brings to the table. He is a serious striker in the bantamweight division, one of the best kickers in bantamweight history, and you have to be a certain level to beat a guy like Marlon Moraes. Everyone can point back to the Henry Cejudo example, but Henry Cejudo is a special individual. He's a guy that won the Olympic gold medal. He's a guy that won the flyweight title, dethroned Demetrius Johnson for that belt, and also won the bantamweight title also. So, when you talk about a champ, a triple champ, triple C, he had to dig deep to a place where I'm not convinced a lot of people are willing to go to get that win against Marlon Moraes. Now, that's not saying Corey Sandhagen can't go to that place as well, because you saw in that Yuri Alcantara fight that Corey Sandhagen is one tough individual as well. It's just that, is he truly a top 5 guy? That's the big question. Now, officially on paper, yes, he beat Rafael Assunção. So as far as a technicality, you cannot debate the fact that Corey Sandhagen is a top 5 guy. It's just, how do you truly rate that Assunção win? Because as we know, Assunção is getting close to 40 years old. I know at one point, if you just look at Assunção's resume, he's beat the entire top 15 pretty much. He's got to win over all those guys, including Marlon, including Aljamain Sterling, Pedro Munoz, TJ Dillashaw, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Rafael's the real deal. Was it a case where Corey beat him because Corey truly might be a future champ, or was it a case where Corey caught him at the right time? So I feel like this fight is going to let us know a lot. And honestly, I think that there's got to be a big distinction between being an output machine and a cardio machine. Just because he's an output machine does not mean that he's a cardio machine. And let me explain what I mean by that. That's not to say that if this fight hits the championship rounds, that Corey Sandhagen is not going to come out here and maintain the same output that he did in the first 3 rounds. But what I am trying to say is that the last time we saw him face a very serious Brazilian heavy hitter in John Lineker, it was in the 3rd round where he started to slow down a bit. So I'm curious to see if he's going to come out here, because I know the narrative is that all he's got to do is weather this early storm and he's going to come out here and win this fight. Like, they make it sound like it's that simple. But like I said, you have to be on a certain level to beat a guy like Marlon Moraes. Now, a lot of people thought that he lost his last fight against Jose Aldo, and I respectfully disagree. I felt like Marlon Moraes won the 1st round. I felt like Jose Aldo won the 2nd round. And then when it was 1-1 going to the 3rd round, it was time to bite down on that mouthpiece. I felt like that's what Marlon Moraes did, and I felt like he won the 3rd round. And as far as him losing the 2nd round to Jose Aldo, let's just be 100% honest here. You know who else lost the 2nd round to Jose Aldo? Peter Yan, the current champion. So just because Jose Aldo might not ever touch a belt ever again doesn't mean that he's not a dangerous guy, and it doesn't mean that he can't compete at the highest level. So Jose Aldo should not be discredited, and either should Marlon Moraes for losing that second round. But that being said, if we do see Marlon Moraes start to slow down, because every single time he's been out the first round, win, lose, or draw, let's be 100% honest, just like we always are, things may have gotten a little bit sketchy. So if things start to get a little sketchy against a guy like Corey Sandhagen, I'm curious to see if he can pick up that output. It's just that he's going to have to walk through some serious shots. And that's where the question comes into play. Does he have the hardware to walk through these shots? That's what I'm so intrigued about in this matchup. And I think that's why it's such a great fight. Now, the 2 times we've seen him in there with heavy Brazilian hitters, he's won both fights. So you got to give him that. But also, he took a lot of damage in both those fights. The Yuri Alcantara fight, man, Yuri Alcantara almost got him out of there in that first round. But credit to the heart and the toughness of Corey Sandhagen. I mean, he got his nose smashed. His arm almost got broken. Thank God the guy is double jointed, right? But being double jointed won't help you survive a head kick from Marlon Moraes. So I'm curious to see if Marlon can come out here, chop him down with the low kicks and eventually time that high kick, or is Corey going to start to accumulate that output, start to pop that jab, mix it up to the body, mix in the flying knees? Because as you know, a 5'6" guy versus a nearly 5'11" guy, the 5'6" guy is going to be open to that big knee. And Corey Sandhagen loves throwing that flying knee. So I'm just curious to see the shot selection from Corey Sandhagen in a spot like this. And as far as, decisions are concerned, because everyone says that Marlon can't win a decision, interestingly enough, Marlon Moraes has actually won more decisions in his career than Corey Sandhagen. Now, I also got to throw out a little disclaimer. Even if Corey Sandhagen wins this fight by decision, that stat will still remain true. And that just might be a case where, Marlon Moraes has just had, maybe more than twice the fights that Corey Sandhagen has. He's just a lot more experienced. But the fact of the matter is Marlon Moraes has won more decisions than Corey Sandhagen, and 2 of those decisions have actually gone all 5 rounds. So he's got championship experience. This will be the first time, should this fight go past the 3rd round, that we'll ever see Corey Sandhagen in the 4th and 5th round. So I'm very curious to see if the fight gets that far. So let me know down below, is it going to be the volume of Sandhagen or the power of Marlon Moraes? And also, do you guys agree with me when I say that just because he's an output machine does not necessarily mean he's a cardio machine? But that being said, he does train, and this is Corey, he does train in that Denver elevation. So I have no reason to believe that this guy's going to gas out at all. All I'm saying is that when you throw that kind of output, it's tough to kind of maintain, man. I mean, this kid is coming out here putting up numbers. I mean, he throws, nearly 7 significant strikes per minute. He's out here putting up 100 significant strikes per fight. So naturally, when you throw that kind of output, you are going to tend to slow down. So I'm curious to see who gets a second win if both guys give their best early and this does hit the late rounds. So let me know down below. I'm Daniel Levy with LineMovement.com, and I cannot wait for this main event between Marlon Moraes and Corey Sandhagen.